yesterday. Oh, now we all have to adjust our little button thing so I can. Oh, good. I just kicked myself off. All right, I gotta hold the recording because I just kicked myself off. And my phone doesn't like that. So the trick is with this, it hides where I have to click it. Yes.
We're just using plain paper this morning.
Oh, damn. Sorry. Yeah, we're going to start with sketch paper. I have to get the phone going. All right. Apologies. Yeah, we're going to start with the sketching. I've already prepared, if you can look at my easel, my little thumbnail items, if you have those ready. I want to go over some basics. First thing. So I'm going to switch to my pad here and just mention a couple things. Couple of things were talked about yesterday. Remember we mentioned, and I think I had a picture of this, but clips of magazines where you can get, you know, what I try to gather is items that I can use for color. And then if you're struggling with a spot on a painting, I mean, it's got writing on it, but if I think, oh, I wonder if purple would work on that, I can hold that up to the painting to see if that's going to work. So these are just like little swatches that I use for ideas. I think the photo went by so quickly, and that's kind of nice. You can just hold it up to the painting to see if you need to add color. This is a cute little item. It's just an index card, and I fold it, and then I cut a little hole in it, just a little notch there. So it's in the middle of the card. And if you're having trouble, like if you're in plein air or somewhere else and you're trying to figure out a color, you can take this and hold it over the color. And it helps you isolate the color from everything around it, because sometimes it gets distracting as to what color is that actually. If you had a more complex photo like this, sorry for the little glare on that, and you were looking at like what type of blue is that on her shirt, you could hold it, where's her shirt, right there, and that would help isolate it and see it a little better and not in comparison to everything around it, just if you're looking for a color match. Little tricks. These are just black and white foam core that I use when I'm taking a picture of a painting. And switching to, can you see my easel? Let me see if I can also put the easel here.
Desktop.
Add spotlight. Yeah. So you can just set that beside it and you have a strip of black and white. And then I will take the photo around all of it this way, if this were the painting. And that will help the camera to find that white balance. So you have your white and your black, and that will help it read the painting more accurately. Then when you're done with a photo, you crop that out.
Yeah.
Another thing.
So
go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. Any questions or something? It really helps get accurate color. Again, if you see
what I was going to say, Terry Lynn, is you can also, once you do capture that within the painting, you can, if you go into Luminar or Photoshop or any type of photo editing software, they usually have a white balance tool.
Yep.
And well, it'll have a little dropper, and you just place the dropper on that white, and it'll adjust the white balance throughout the photograph.
And that's if you have some white in the painting, yes?
Well, no, what I do is that, I mean, I'm usually going to crop whatever photo it is anyway. So I just make sure to grab, I have a white card and a black card, but that might even work better. You know, you grab it in the photo, you do your white balance with the dropper tool, and then you crop your painting.
Then you crop it, yeah.
Yeah.
It helps because, for instance, this painting behind me here, there is no white. The lightest light is this blue here. It's a very light blue. And if you're looking at your value scale, that's at least a 3, maybe a 4. There's no absolute white in that painting. So to get the colors on the photo accurately and to get all the details that are in the dark, which you can't really see here, I needed to do some sort of balance like that. So those are just some ideas. Here's my little, this is, somebody asked about my plein air kit. So I went out this morning, I got my backpack, everything's in the backpack. This is my little plein air kit. Let me remove
Wow.
this for right. It's just, I got it at, sorry, but Walmart, and it was just in the school department. You know, it's like a little pencil box or something. And let me see if I can get, I have to be careful. I have so many lamps and things around here. So I have cloths in here just to hold the pastels in place. And these I can use when I'm plein air painting. I have a little strip of some material here to hold it in. And then I can just open these up like this. And there's my little plein air kit. And I
Wow.
try to check it to see if I have the colors that I want. I also have a couple tools in there. I've been using it so you can see things are a little out of sequence. But if I'm out on location, I'll make a note like, oh, I didn't have a bluish green. I have to get something like that in the box, you know. So, but
Yeah.
it's small and it works just fine for me.
Hmm.
So you can see it's not much bigger than my hand when I fold it up.
Wow.
So you don't need to always buy expensive equipment.
And it's not heavy, which is nice.
No, it's not heavy
Yeah.
at all. It's just it's very light. So those were things that were kind of discussed yesterday. I wanted to just share with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And if you ever have any other questions and that I can help with. All right, moving right along. I'm going to share my screen. One little aspect that came up yesterday was illusions when Cindy, right, had mentioned that, like, laying her paper down. Wait, is that right? Right, Cindy, you had talked about laying the paper down and drawing at an angle. This is the
Yes.
painting by Hans Holbein that I was referring to. And this this object here, which most people don't see, if you take this painting or a photo of this painting, and instead of looking at it this way, and you tilt it up at an angle, an oblique angle, you can see the skull. So this is
Wow.
actually a skull right here.
That's amazing.
And that's the image. So that's kind of my rationale for not lying things down, because it does distort how you're looking at it and drawing it. Interesting, isn't it?
Really.
Very.
Amazing.
See, Cindy, art history is interesting.
You know, and I've always said that. Yeah. I used to, before I retired last year and for the 6 years before that, I ran the art history class at our alternative ed high school, and it was online. And it was the most dry, boring, awful class. And I told my students, I said, I'm so sorry. Art history should not be like this, but
Mhm.
it was what it was.
I had a college professor, and I did not want to be an art history major. I was going for fine arts, but that was my only 8 o'clock class that I absolutely never missed. He made it fascinating, and one of the ways was that he had been all over the world, and everything we looked at were his slides back
Mm.
then, and he had stories behind all of them. And I think that's really what got me interested in it. The stories behind the artists and the paintings, and there's some great
Yeah.
biographies out there too.
And that's what art is. It's stories. It's not just, you know, line and it's, yeah.
all of it
Whoever
encompasses
wrote this
everything.
program it was terrible.
And you had to follow the program, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I'm a math teacher by credential. So I didn't have background to help much.
But a lot of art is based on math. You start getting
Yes.
into your fractals and your
Absolutely.
Fibonacci series and all that
Yeah.
The
ties
golden
into your art.
ratio.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
And the same
The
with
gold-
science too.
The
People
golden
try to separate these things, and the interdisciplinary aspect is
Yeah.
really important. Sorry, off on a tangent here. So I brought up some inspiration this morning that I thought kind of ideas that you could work toward using some of these more intense color schemes or a variety of color scheme instead of trying to, as many of us do, stay to the realistic. This is Burdette Desaris, and she's actually from Maine, and she does these very whimsical, beautiful little paintings. And these are pastel. This is one she did in Venice. So you don't have to spell every little detail. This is an oil painter from New York. His name is Brian Rutenberg. He has a nice YouTube channel where he talks about creating and art and different things. He paints one image. He's a fairly young guy. When he was growing up in South Carolina, his backyard had a pond in the trees, and all of his images are based on that one view. And he just keeps changing it and playing with color. And a lot of his paintings are huge, like 10 feet across paintings. He's slathering on mounds of paint, but his color schemes are what really, I believe, stand out. And sometimes you can take something like this and pick out the colors and then, pick out for us the pastel sticks that would go in these colors and then go and do your painting with his color scheme. Kind of fun. This one I like too. Look at this.
That's great.
Magenta red against this like teal blue. It just vibrates. I have a slight astigmatism, and for me, this just like bounces around. It's just delicious.
How big are these paintings, do you think, Terry Lynn?
Well, some of them,
Maybe.
as I said, some can be like 10 feet across. He has this huge studio, and they're gigantic.
Right.
And they're beautiful, but oil and pastel are so close in application and color, I think, that I often look at oil painters. One thing interesting, look at the cooler blues that he's using down in this foreground. And then he has this like warm, light yellow and an orange back here, which kind of flips and pops the picture plane toward us, but it still sets back somehow. I mean, that's just brilliant.
Huh.
This is a Casey Klon I was talking about yesterday. He's out in Oregon. Wonderful things that Casey is doing, and he says he's breaking rules in the pastel community. People go like, you can't use those colors together. He says, yeah, I can, and he just goes out and does it and has a great time with it.
How do you spell his last name?
Klahn.
Thank you.
He teaches workshops as well, so he's a good one. I helped him when we first went into COVID. We had just started using Padlet in the community, and he had like 60 students in this class, but he used a Padlet that had no design to it, like the one I'm using, you see, has columns for each student, and they were all over the place, and he and I and his wife were trying to organize this Padlet, and it just got totally unwieldy. This is another one of Casey's. I love that. This reminds me of Rick yesterday was it Rick? No. It was Chris, right? Where you just took that window in the barn and you just put a couple strokes down in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of that purple and then just a little bit of blue to settle over. Well, no, and Rick too, because you did that brush over of the blue on the red barn.
On the red barn, yeah.
Yeah. Just that light hint of glaze. And I mean, I would be tempted to go like, oh, I have to smooth this out and make it all nice and everything. But no, look how nicely this works. You don't have to do that. Anyone know this artist?
Oh, yeah.
This is Jen Evenhoose. She's also from Oregon. And she plays wonderfully with color and negative space in here. So she'll set in these red trees and she tones her paper. She does a lot of underwashes with her paper with color. So it's a variety. You can see even the ochre down here and then the kind of russet color and how it's in behind this painting irregularly.
Is that with like a watercolor, or she just dilutes the alcohol with
She
pastel?
plays around. Sometimes she uses watercolor. Sometimes she'll
Yeah.
throw some pastel and just do an alcohol wash. Jen, I think she has some videos too about underpainting.
Yeah.
So
How do you spell her last name, please?
Evenhus, Evenhus.
Thank you.
But again, look at this cadmium red light against this. Oh, what is this? Phthalo blue, like just a beautiful blue. And then she's got the light and the dark of that. And then she'll come in at the end with these light whites. And her stroke, she's very deliberate, but very energetic with her strokes. She's the one that I picked up all the ideas about sticks from too. You know, just going outside and getting a stick. She sent us out, it was a live workshop, and she sent us out, go find a couple sticks. So we're all out wandering around looking for sticks. This is another one of Jen's, just how she plays with color.
Wow.
Love that.
I love that blue with a little bit of green.
Oh,
Great.
So look how vibrant. I mean, it's almost like food. It's like a good meal that just is enticingly delicious.
oh, those apples.
Yeah.
And look, even this supposed white right here is not really white. It's a light yellow, probably a 2 or 3 value tone. So there's no bright brights on here.
Really interesting because she's using this really evocative color in the apple, but they read as apple slices for sure. And then if you look at the peel on that bottom piece, it's actually rendered awfully nicely, you know?
Right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a beautiful, beautiful rendering of
Yeah.
apple peel.
Mm.
And
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
no, I was just saying it looks kind of casual and very fresh, but then you look at that apple peel and it's like, wow, that really is a careful rendering of that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
She understands the form. She
Yeah.
understands that this piece of that apple came from a sphere, and she understands how to form a sphere and how to light it. And she's not
Yeah.
thinking 2-dimensionally flat here. She's thinking of it 3-dimensionally as
Right.
well. And yeah, she's a great draftsman, even as loose as she is. And then she throws this color on top. And she's been really going more into some oils lately. And you can see that transition working really well for her. But just luscious. I mean, talk about the impasto like Rick was doing yesterday. Obviously, this is not a high resolution photo, and you can see some brush strokes underneath here, or mark strokes. And look at the seeds, little tiny seeds.
Yeah.
It works so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And it
composition is
balances.
terrific.
Yeah.
I like the way she's letting the paper read through
Mm.
the background.
Yes, that's
It's
stroke of
working as a
brilliance.
whole nother couple of colors in the
Yeah.
composition.
And what color do we think that is? I mean,
Chartreuse.
it's almost like a chartreuse or a yellow or both or something, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's on top of what? Is the chartreuse on top of the blue or vice versa?
I think the
Yeah,
blues
that's a
are-
good point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I think
assuming the blue was on top, but
The blue's on
Yeah.
top and this is under. If you had a higher resolution photo, that would be easier to
Mm.
see.
Yeah.
Is this chartreuse in here added after, or is that just sparkling through? Again, if we had a higher resolution photo, we could probably work to figure that out, but I mean, that's us
Yeah.
artists. We're the ones that are at the museum that make the guards nervous.
I do know.
right? Because we're standing, we're looking at it like that, to back off 15 inches, ma'am. Oh, but I have
Yeah.
to see how they did it. You know?
Yeah. I do that all the time.
Have you gotten into trouble with it? I have.
I
Yeah.
have
Yes.
set off bells at the Met.
Oh,
Yeah, we're always trying
Oh.
to figure it out. Like, how did they
Mm.
do that?
Mhm.
WolfCon, we looked at yesterday. And another WolfCon, but just trying to inspire, give you some inspiration and ideas, possibly.
wow. Thank you.
Cool, huh? I love it.
Mm,
Yeah.
I think
delicious.
I did that. Yes. All right. My next aspect is this. Do you all have a photo that you're planning to work from already today? You good to go?
Yes.
Yep.
Particularly.
Excellent. This I've printed this up for myself. I like this is Florent Farge, and I put a link to his YouTube video on our Padlet, to his YouTube channel. I put mine on there as well. So I printed it up for myself and put it behind because I like the changes here. It's still tricky in these greens. It's very subtle, but I thought that was a really accurate concept. So I also put this wheel on our Padlet. You can just download it from there. And our first exercise this morning,
Terry Lynn, you weren't showing that wheel, I don't think.
oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Ta-da!
there-
You got it.
Yeah, I forgot to share my screen. I went and got the folder, but I didn't do this. So yeah, the greens are not accurate. I just heard somebody leave. Is somebody, or is that? No, okay. Yeah, and I like this. So I keep looking. I wish he had something more like larger areas of color and stuff, but this is very good. So this will be our first exercise this morning, if you're ready for this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take off the share screen for a moment and find my dotted card. Yep, I had it in a stack right here. I'm very organized. I am so organized, it's behind this is where it is. So you can do it with an index card or a dot that way, or if you've done it on a paper, what we're going to work into bit by bit is you're going to this morning create one of, let me highlight me, one of your own kind of color schemes here with the colors of your choice. Let me find this one. This is the one I want. There. And I'll be talking about this as we go along, but to understand this concept, I just have a white sheet of paper here, and if you want, you can put a dot in the middle of your paper, or you can use the index card. And what you're going to do is for about 30 seconds, you're going to stare at this white star that's in the middle of the flag. And you have to really kind of focus your eyes and stay on that. And then we'll remove that. And then you look at the black dot here. And you're waiting to see the retinal persistence after vision. The way our rods and cones work in our eyes, you know, if you look at something too long, they get fatigued. And they're always trying to balance out the color. So when we look at this so long, those get fatigued. You look at a plain white paper and you see the exact opposite of those colors visually. Is that making sense what I'm explaining?
So are we going to see the opposite of turquoise?
You're going to see it's like you've got this light yellow field and this, yep, turquoise. I'm going to put up the closer.
Oh, okay.
All right. So if you have your card or a piece of paper with a dot on it, That would be a good thing to start with. And I am going to, now keeping in mind that the screen is going to interpret this a little different. So I would get maybe 10 or 15 inches away and try to just stare right at that white asterisk. And as you're looking at it and you're kind of going, you can start seeing a little bit of vibration around all the edges of the color. And when you get to about 30 seconds or so, then in light, just transfer your vision and hold directly steadily on your card.
It's pretty cool.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Although I didn't get the stars.
The stars didn't come out white?
No.
This also, I put
Maybe I
this
need
on
to
the
stare
Padlet,
more.
so if you want, you can print it up. Although I think the printed version, in my sense, the color is a little bit off. And I think that's because I'm running out of one of the inks. This blue is not the actually correct blue. So you can try that on your own as well.
Interesting.
Are people getting the after image?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That comes out the natural colors of the flag, right?
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
get the stars either.
The stars are rather small. They're kind of hard to see. But that the black turns out white, I mean, that's showing that it's an opposite. And if one color is darker, then the retinal opposite is going to be a lighter color. So we can only do this so long before our eyes just get totally fatigued. But yeah, right. But like when I did the chart that I have prepared here, I did it over a couple of times. Like I did the first two, you know, and then I waited a while and then I did some others. And that's what I might encourage, that I believe I'll encourage you to do. But since you just did that, I want to go over a couple other color schemes, if that's okay.
So the color that shows up when you look at the black dot is the complement. It's the
Optical complement.
optical complement.
And I'm saying optical because we're not in pigment anymore. We're dealing with light and the way light affects our retinas and is translated into our brain directly.
All right. And then the two color wheels, one was a traditional color wheel and the other one was the what?
Oh, that's what I'm going to go over here.
What was it called? Okay.
There's, I call, wrong button. There's the one I want. This is the Munsell color wheel. This was devised basically for print media. So you have pigment and then you have print, and print uses the colors, the primaries are yellow, cyan, and magenta, and black. So this is more similar to the optical complements that we were just working with than the traditional color wheel is. So he has devised this with your tints here on the outside and your shades. So if you start with yellow, in the middle would be your hue, the pure yellow. As you head out, you mix it with white, and as you head toward the center, it's going toward black. One item of the Munsell color wheel is that it is not flat. It is three-dimensional, and not all colors are equal. This has a huge corner of it cut out, which is the purple areas, but he has designed this so you have the brighter, the pure hues on the outside, And you can see that some of the pure hues are not as intense as some of the others and are cut out. Then three-dimensionally, as you work toward the center, that goes toward white and heading up lighter. And then as you head down, you get your shades. So your tints and your shades.
Oh, wow.
Up and down. Now, as you're heading across, say from this magenta, and you're heading across the wheel this way toward its complement over here, you are getting grays, but these grays, yeah, it looks kind of gray in the middle, but it's actually mixed with that complement of green on the other side. So you can see the multi-dimensionality of this color. That's why if you go into a print medium, they say the Pantone colors, you know, it's Pantone B65, and that tells you exactly where it is within this three-dimensional wheel.
Oh,
Isn't that fascinating?
yes.
But that's very complex. Here's a
But
little
it
illustrator
explains
on.
so much.
So your hue, and they're talking about temperature here. Is it warm? Is it cool? The chroma, or the intensity, the saturation of the color as it goes out. The value as it goes lighter or darker, lighter, darker. The chroma also the purity or how it's mixed with its complement that way. Within that, trying to simplify it now, here is a color wheel. See, it's got blue, green here. This is a little different than the one we've been working with yesterday. But this aspect brings out, here's your pure chroma. Here it is less chroma, you know, toward the gray, but it's not really gray. It's with the complement of it. And so that's a consideration as well. But here we are. Here's our hue, our pure color, shade by adding black, tint by adding white, and the tone, they say by adding gray. But for artists, it's better to add the complement to get a nice tone. It's more interesting. Why that is because if you mix a color with gray, it's just going to kind of dull the color. But if you mix a color with its complement, because especially that we're working with pastels and we don't always mix the colors totally, because if we did mix our pigments on the paper totally, that flattens those beautiful little particles of pastel. They're usually microscopically standing up like this, you know. Can you see me too? Sorry. Right? They're kind of standing up. And the light bouncing off from that is what gives it such vibrancy. And if you blend it too much, it smushes them down so they're flat and they're not as interesting. That's also if you add certain types of fixative, it'll flatten them down. So we like the fact that they're microscopically kind of standing up and doing all this reflecting of their color. When we put one color over the other, like we were talking earlier, like that blue over the purple of Rick's barn yesterday, those colors are now, those bits of particle are in juxtaposition to each other. It's like microscopically, they're side by side. And at a distance, you stand way back, visually they blend into a tone, a softer, neutralized tone. But if you looked at it under a microscope, they would be actually the two complementary colors right beside each other. And that's what gives it that beautiful vibrancy and the excitement of color.
I've only seen one Degas pastel, and I didn't know any of this when I saw it, but did he fix any of his pastels, or? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
okay.
Yeah. I do know a story that there was a photographer after Picasso died, went into his studio to photograph some of his works, and he noticed one of Picasso's drawings looked dusty. So he brushed away the dust. Yeah, exactly. So he brushed away a Picasso drawing. I'm not sure if back then if they were using fixative or not. Again, my favorite fixative is the one I showed you yesterday, the Lasco.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Lasco is a little more expensive, but it does not affect the color as much. It just seems to keep it in place instead of, you know, laying down heavily on top of it. Okay, is that it on this? No. Another thing is when we juxtapose colors, these two purples in the center here are exactly the same color. But if you cover one side and then cover the other side, because of the colors that it is beside, it makes it look like a totally different color from itself. You've probably seen that. So not only that microscopic juxtaposition of color as we glaze over colors, also what are you putting it side by side? If you want something to see more red, then you're going to put it beside a neutralized complement of that red. Instead of adding more and more and more red, you want to add actually the opposite to make it seem that way. It's like if you want something to seem lighter in your painting or your drawing, you'll just have to add more darker tones. I want to shut that off. All right, we ready for our little exercise? Whew. With your white piece of paper, and I know you just have sketch paper, what I'd like to do is, and we are going to be blending on this one after my whole thing, like, please don't blend your colors, but pick up a color, a hue from your box, and I'll go through the explanation, then we'll come back to this. Pick up a color, then do this exercise that we just did with the flag. So there would be like a black dot in the middle. I'm staring at this green until I can feel it, usually about 20, 30 seconds. Then jump over here and stare at this black dot that's on white. You'll see the after image and try to fix that in your mind. Okay, it's a light purplish pink. And then go to your box and try to find that exact complement. The next step would be, I'll come back and explain this again. The next step would be taking those two colors and working toward a neutralized color in the middle. And if you squint down at this picture, you can see that these are pretty much gray. Look, the gray here is almost like the gray of this dirty cloth, right? And that's by blending those two complements. So this one's a little more green, this one's a little more pink, but that's in the middle. But you've done it not by choosing the color, but by actually seeing the retinal complement.
So as we're doing this, we're
Yeah.
picking a color from our primaries that we picked yesterday, or our color wheel of colors from yesterday.
I would start with that. Yeah, see, I started with a blue up here and then a red, then I went to a magenta and green. But eventually you could do this with almost any color. Now I'm fascinated with Rick to see what he's going to come up with. I really am. Yes.
So my second part of the question was, so we start with one of the colors we picked for our color wheel yesterday, but when we're searching for the optical complement, we're looking at all of the colors we have available to us.
Yes, you're going to go to your large box for that because you're not, what we worked with yesterday were your pure hues.
Right. Right.
And to find the optical complement, it's not going to, like this green, the optical complement, that's not a pure green. Well, it is kind of pure green, is not another hue. It's not another pure hue. It's a tint of another hue because it's a little bit darker green. So I would recommend starting with one color. Let me go back. You know, ignore the top part of this. Pick one color with a black dot. Do the staring. Then look at the white with the dot. Try to fix that after image color in your head as you go to your full set and pick out the closest color you have to that. Let's just try one to start with, okay? I'm sorry, just two quick little things before you get going. This I showed you again, this is just graying the color, and this is with its complement. And you can see that the grays are more interesting grays rather than just grays in the middle. And this is what we'll do after, once we choose those colors and we want to work with them. I'll put this back up. That. All right, I'll give you, what do you think, like 5 minutes for that? So choose a hue, find its optical complement, and do a little scale. It doesn't have to be full scale, but you know, a few steps in between those two.
I know, is that a three-way?
Well, it was, not anymore. Got a 100-watt bulb here. Might make a difference.
Cindy, I'm going to mute you right now since we're, you're having a private
Okay.
conversation.
I'll let him out, babe.
I'm going to momentarily pause.
Something, can you hear me?
Yes.
Something Picard mentioned, and it's something I've heard from other people, is people who have had cataract surgery will open their eyes to a whole new, different color world.
Mm-hmm.
I did that, Will. It was
Yeah.
bizarre. I got up the next morning and the whole world had turned blue.
Yep.
It was fantastic. Greens were these rich blue greens. And I hadn't realized how yellowed my vision had become.
And
But
did you do one eye at a time?
I did one eye at a time, so I could
Yeah.
go back and forth, and it was just bizarre. I mean,
That's
so fantastic.
Now,
I just
Chris-
wish I could do that with each part of my body.
Chris, was you said the blues really popped out, but were the other colors balanced as well? They were still evident?
Well, everything shifted toward the blue because, the cataracts put an amber light. So I think it's that same complement, issue. And
Yeah.
so everything shifted toward the blue. Greens were a much richer blue-green and greener and much less yellow. I hadn't realized how yellow the trees, how much yellowing had occurred. And so, and of course, everything was brighter and so on, but it was so dramatic. I don't think everybody has quite as much. I think it depends on how much your cataracts were yellowed,
Mm-hmm.
but it was fantastic. And of course, that was about the time I was trying to get back into my art a few years ago. And so it was just couldn't have been more perfect in terms of timing.
Perfect timing. Yeah. Well, not that I'm looking forward to cataract surgery, but
Yeah, it does. It's pretty amazing, really. It's really not a problem in terms of the surgery.
So far, I think I'm seeing color. You don't know, right? I mean, I think I'm
Right,
seeing color accurately. So
right.
how would I really know?
That's
Well,
what Picard was saying, what are we seeing?
Yeah.
We're filtering it through our perception.
Right.
Well, Will, in that Monet book that you recommended to me that I enjoyed so much, they talked about his vision at the end of his life, and how much, and it's speculation at this point, but how much that affected the hues and values and everything of his later paintings.
Well, it's a speculation that Van Gogh was seeing through his eyes that were because of the medicines he was taking, and it causes all kinds of shifts in perception. So what we're seeing with all these bright, vibrant colors are courtesy of the medicines.
Yeah.
Can't wait for those.
Weren't those more for his mental condition than?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they totally affected his vision. I'm sure it affected everything, but
Oh, yes. But you said can't wait for those. I mean, are you considering having some sort of mental condition? Just saying there, Will.
I know.
Alexa, stop timer. How are we doing? A little more time or?
How many of these are we supposed to be doing?
I'm doing 2 right now just to get
Okay.
started. How are you doing?
I've got 1 done.
Okay.
A little more time.
All right. If I don't set the timer, I mean, I thought we had that was 2 minutes and it was 5 minutes. So Alexa, set a 5-minute timer. The nice thing about working with these is hopefully, as we do a few, you can choose 1 or 2 for this afternoon as your starting point for your color scheme. Or maybe you can do a sketch this morning with just this. We'll see how you all are doing. It's still too dark. Wow.
So do you swap what goes underneath as you go across from one color to the other?
Yes, and I also blended because in this case I want them to, I'm trying to reach a neutral in the center.
Okay. It's amazing. I got the most amazingly beautiful gray, pale gray.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I thought this was the
really.
purple that's complement, but every time I look at it, it's lighter. It's even lighter.
Yeah.
I have a whole series of study. I was doing this when I was oil painting back, as I said, in the early 90s, basically, and I had started the study. And then, kids come along and you get busy. And I'm going to try this. So I have samples, and what I did is I would do a color study. I would plan out the painting. Is it a high key, basically light colors, or low key? What was the primary color scheme? Was it a split complement? And I'd write down all of these notes, and I would have the reference photo, my thumbnail sketch, my no-tan, and then I would take a photo of the finished painting. I've got that somewhere. I should pull it out again. Ah, that's closest. All right. I think I finally found it. Of course, my eyes are going buggy at this point. Sometimes to blend, I just go back and forth between, and for me, it's quickest if I just have one color held in one hand and one in the other, so I can go back and forth quickly. sometimes if you can't step back far enough, I find like, especially, and it's not going to be totally accurate, but for me to get more of an objective view, I'll just turn around and look at my screen behind me sometimes, if you're set up such that you could do that. Of course, right now I'm spotlighted, so yes.
I don't know if I'm doing something wrong because I keep winding up with some very dark grays, and yours are all so light.
Well, I'm working with brighter, lighter colors here, where if you look
Brighter,
on
lighter.
this side, they're darker.
Oh, okay. I see. I see.
And-
Oh, all
and-
right.
Yep.
That's kind of where I am.
Yep.
Okay.
Where's my marker? This is also a point sometimes you look and you go like, oh, I don't have exactly the right color in my box. But there's another 5 minutes. Alexa, stop timer. I mean, we can keep buying colors and tints and shades and everything, but you can also mix with pastels. Again, I recommend, like right now I was blending a lot to try to get those neutral grays, but try not to blend too much. And they're gray, but you can also see they're not totally gray. They're not a blank, flat gray. They're interesting neutral colors,
And much richer.
right? Yeah. It's because it's color with color. Okay, I'm going to. Is there a chance we might be able to see a few of these? How are you doing?
There.
That top row, is that good?
Yeah, back off a little bit so we can see. I'm going to spotlight Chris right now. To the right a little bit.
This way?
Yeah, and then back off a little more. Because all we're getting is that we're not seeing the blue on the right side.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
How's that?
Nice. Look at those
And
middle
look how-
grays.
I know, they're just amazing.
Those are
Yeah.
great. That
I
worked
mean, it's a-
really well.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I mean, all of a sudden that gray just came out of nothing.
Oh, no, 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 no. It came out as something.
It was magic.
Yeah, and it's neutral. It's not like gray. Leah, you said you had some?
Yeah, let's see.
Come on.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I was started with the colors that I was using yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. Good. And
That
I
was
like
where
the neutrals.
going.
They're interesting neutrals. Nice.
That's funny because this red
Yep.
was not working well on this plain sketch paper. It didn't
Is
like
it a Rembrandt?
it's a blue earth
It
and
is
it
blue earth. Yeah.
and it I don't know if you can, well, let's see, can
Mm-hmm.
see how it shined it up and made it so it wasn't marking
Wow.
Wow.
on the
It's
pastel.
burnishing your pastel.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Is that, and
Yeah,
that's
that
a
was
sketch
really
paper you
strange.
have?
Yeah, it's just some cardstock paper.
Yeah. So you'll see a difference too if you wanted, once you get used to trying these charts bit by bit, create a full chart, or not a full chart, but somewhat full on good pastel paper. You're going to
Yeah.
see a difference there too. We know, all of us, how when we went from sketch paper or Canson Me-Tent paper to sanded paper were like, oh my gosh, how come nobody told me about this before?
Yeah.
It was like a whole new world.
It just was weird. I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah, me either. Tilt it the other way a little
Oh,
bit more,
wow.
Cindy. There you go. Look at those grays. Very
Beautiful.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice. And you're working on the third. Good.
Yeah.
All right, Will, I'm coming over to you.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Nice.
Which one? Did you start with the darker colors on your left?
Huh.
Which colors did you start with? The ones,
On the left-hand side,
not our left right now, but when you're
over here,
over there, right? Yeah.
started here, complement was here, and then the blend was here.
Now, are these compliments surprising you folks somewhat?
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Yes.
I was expecting it with my one color, and then the other color surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Linda, how are you? You have a
Okay.
piece you could hold up?
I'm doing
or-
okay. Yeah.
Here, let me spotlight.
Oh, what am I doing?
Oh yeah. Oh, that first, the magenta to the green on
Still work.
the brighter one worked really well. The
Yeah.
one you were just pointing, I
And this,
can't. You're not
yeah,
blending
right
there.
here,
You're jumping
this-
to, yeah.
yeah,
So-
well, I realized my, this aqua, the stick I have would not, it was just slipping over this.
Ah.
So ignore the
Ignore
row.
that row.
So I started
Okay.
over.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. And those neutral ones have some
Yeah.
nice neutrals, that blue and yellow. I mean, we thought always orange, and that's a light yellowish orange, but you know, you
Yeah,
learn
yeah.
blue
I-
and orange
you know,
are
this, yeah, this is
That-
such a nice gray.
gray. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
interesting. I've known about Munsell and this and that, but actually sitting down and doing this exercise is
Yeah.
really, really, really good. Because this is
Good.
something I don't do much in my own work, but I will now. Yeah, it's great.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. For some reason, my phone is not plugged in. Oh, good. Not good. Okay, continue.
Is anyone having trouble getting the after image with certain of the colors?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's this one color, I just cannot get an after image.
Which one? Where are you?
It's, let's see.
Is this Chris? I'm looking for you on
Yes.
my thing. Okay. Let me get you here.
This one.
All right. That's kind of is a bluish,
Yeah,
grayish blue?
it's a grayish blue.
Grayish blue. I probably don't have it.
Is it going to be a peach or it's going to be something light, I guess, something pale?
Grayish.
Is it
blue.
turquoise? Is it? It's not really turquoise, is it?
No, it's more like a dark teal or something.
Uh-huh.
Dark teal. I don't think I have that color.
I'm working on matching a red magenta, and I'm
Mhm.
coming up with a teal, if that helps you.
Oh, okay, there we go.
A bright teal, but it's not necessarily the same thing.
Grade. I don't think I have a grade teal on my box.
My turquoise teal came up with a very light orange, so light that it was hard
Yes.
for me to find.
Let me see. Hold on, Cindy. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing when I do see anything. Does it have any
Oh.
peach to it?
Yes, a peach,
Yeah.
light peach.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm seeing right there. Interesting. Okay, there's the solution.
And I had to do it a couple of times to be sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so light that it seemed odd, right? So
Yeah,
it's
and I
blending
think
into
that's
Yeah.
Terry Ludwig light.
Chris, just ask Rick. You can borrow one of his. I'm sure he has it. He has all the Terry Ludwigs.
Sure.
All right. Who have I not checked? Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'd say they look very gray.
Let me spotlight you so I can see better. The yeah, they do. The yellow and blue, that green one looks, the second row is very green, but I can see like the next row, you have some nice neutral tones there.
Yeah.
What's that color you're working with now? It almost looks like black. Is that a dark
I
blue?
picked eggplant.
Eggplant.
Oh,
I love
wow.
it. I love it.
Wow.
I was in this demonstration workshop, very short thing at a Canadian pastel conference. And I was very inexperienced. It was my first time. And she said, now I'm going to put eggplant over here. And the whole audience went, ooh. And I thought, okay, what's missing?
It's like, what's going on with eggplant?
I got to have that.
Yeah, there's certain people that say that's the dark they use all the time. I get concerned about using the same color all the time. I'll do these exercises or different strategies for myself to break out of my norm of color. Like right now, I notice I'm doing a lot of not moss greens, like lichen greens and magenta purples. And it's like, how did I get stuck in this almost a rut? So trying to get out of it, it's a good thing.
I
Somebody had a
dropped
comment?
my eggplant and broke it. So I had to order another one.
You know, I'm just going to get one of those little brushes and, you know, a little dust bin, because then, right, we can reconstitute it.
Yeah.
Or you can make your own like I did. Where's mine? Where's my eggplant? Here it is. I don't think it's exactly eggplant. You can't see there. Let me try this camera.
Art Spectrum has a really nice eggplant pastel paper.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah.
This is my
Yeah.
handmade eggplant right here. Can you see it's in my iPad, my supplies video? And I don't know what I mixed even. I just played around with it until I came up with a color that I thought was close. Laura Pollock swears that eggplant is darker than black. Darker or not, one aspect of it, instead of using black, it's using color to get your dark. And if you can use color instead of white, gray, and black, your paintings are going to be more vibrant, even if it's very subtle.
In printing, if they want a black, they always print a cyan underprint to the black or some other color to get, or a double hit of black and a color.
To intensify it.
Because otherwise you don't get that black.
I enjoyed how Teresa Saia, I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, Saia. Her darks were always usually a combination of a dark purple, a dark green, a dark red, and a dark blue, all mixed in, and they were gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's better than just pulling out black. I would do that when I was oil painting or watercolor. If you want a dark, you take dark ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and burnt umber. And those combinations would make a beautiful, rich black without it being black. All right. Stop video. I think we've been at this about an hour. I'd like to take a little break. Oh, Rick, I didn't check on you. I'm trying not to bug you, but how's it going? Rick? Are you ignoring me? How's
No,
it going?
no, I'm not. No.
Can we ask?
Well, Try to get this up here.
Right.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, you have some nice grays there. How are you feeling with it? How's it working for you? It's my
Well,
I can't hear you.
oh, I'm
There,
not
thanks.
muted, am I?
No, it's that your microphone was, it must be a
Oh,
directional
okay.
mic.
Yeah. They don't look very gray to me. And maybe it's just because I keep reading the color underneath. But it was interesting. I just started doing this next row with the yellow. And while I was staring at the yellow, the optical complement started poking out around the edges.
Yep.
It would do that. And then I'd come down here and I'd see the same color, but it would start vibrating around the outside of it.
That's when I
And
know my eyes are ready, because you get like this little outline, almost this vibrating
Yeah.
outline of the other color around it, because our eyes can't stay directly fixed all the
Yeah.
time as much as we try. Then I'm like, oh
And
yeah, I've got it.
I look at it and I'm not sure. At first I thought it was a blue, but now I'm thinking it was a violet that I was seeing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. One color, what was the color? Here's my color. For me, finding this purple, this is a very light lilac purple, and this light blue, these were tricky for me to find. I had to do the exercise like 3 times each. I picked up a pastel, I'm like, nope, that's not quite it, and I would do it again to find those, and they kind of surprised me. So, all right, let me look. All right, I think people have some colors. What I'd like to do is take about a 10-minute break, which would bring us to 1:30 in the east, and is that 10:30 in the west?
10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. God, my math skills are phenomenal.
I was focused on the 30 part, so
Yeah.
I wasn't focused on the 10 part. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, wait.
Oh, wait, Leah, hold still right there. Yeah, I can see your clock behind you. Perfect. Let's come back at about 10:30 and 1:30 Eastern time. And then what we're going to do is choose a couple of these that you feel you really want to work with. And we're going to do a couple of quick sketches and try them out before we head into a serious painting.
Great.
All right, Terry.
All right, I'm going to pause. Yes?
Terry Lynn, what did you mean pick a couple? A couple of the neutrals or?
No, here, let me show. Choose a couple of your, like say, I want to look at this green and this pink, and I want to play around with this orange and this blue. So we're going to do a couple of quick like thumbnail color plans with one of those color schemes. And that's limiting, I know, but I just want to try that quickly. And then
So
I want to
really it's like having a drawing with 2 colors, except we're going to blend.
Right. Let me reiterate. Sorry. You just made me think of something that I was remiss. We're going to take a little longer break, I think, actually. While we're doing that, we're going to choose 1 or 2, start my video, and
1 or 2 pairs.
yeah. For instance, if I chose, I want to go with this magenta, so I'm looking at a chart that I did here on my easel, the magenta to this light green here. So these are going to be my starting colors. And from this, because I want to try this one, is I'm going to go and I'm going to add some tints of that. And I'm going to add like 2 tints and 2 shades. I'm just grabbing these quickly. Those aren't very different. Get that one in there. And the same with the other color. So then do we not only have those optical complements, we also have the tints and the shades of each of those. Would you like
So
me
you'll
to
find tints
explain
and
that again?
shades of the green one as well.
Yep, I just haven't done it yet. So
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Yep.
I understand now. Okay.
We're doing this now?
during the break.
Oh, during the break.
Yep. So let's take about 10 minutes now. So I've got about 1:35. Is that enough time for a break and to pick out some colors? Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Good enough. Well, we get extra time. We can stretch it if we want. 1:35 and 10:35. I'm going to pause the recording right now. So I'd like to do this next part a little quickly because I'd like to get it done by about 2. That gives us about 20 minutes. What I want is a couple of quick sketches, thumbnail sketches using these colors. Try to do that quickly, kind of planning out what you want to do. You can use Vine charcoal if you want for your under sketch. Not take long. I'm going to put 5-minute timers on this. I'm still getting feedback.
Can you
I can
kill
mute
my
one.
phone?
You want the phone
feed?
muted? Yep.
Yeah, kill
Okay.
that, please.
Done. Yep.
Thank you.
So let's try 1 or 2 sketches with your planned color scheme, the ones you just picked out. Then we're going to try a 3rd and a 4th one, and these are going to be only like 5 minutes each. Okay, so they're going to be quick. And you're not going to design really, you're just going to kind of lay in some color in your general sketch quickly. So I'm going to highlight this. Oh, it is highlighted. All right, it's already highlighted. So in my my colors here, I'm going to do a couple quick thumbnails with these colors, just kind of generally planning it out. Then I am going to, which I am encouraging you to do, I am going to go to my, get this up, my wheel here. And my 2 colors are basically these. Wow, almost exact. 2 colors. So then for the 3rd and 4th little thumbnail sketch, we're going to choose a 3rd color or something. You can either do a split off on one side or the other, this way or this way, up to 2 steps. Or I think that's the best. Let's try it that way, okay? So I can either go, I have the magenta and this green, and I could add in an ultramarine blue here to that 3rd and 4th painting, or I could add in a yellow.
So we're not going to use the pastels we just picked out over the break?
Yes, yes, you are. Your first
Oh,
2
but add
little
a color?
Yeah, your first 2 sketches will be, I'm on the wrong camera again. The first 2 quick little sketches will be using the 2 colors you just picked out with their tints
Okay.
and shades.
Right.
The 3rd and 4th will be with another color, just
Gotcha.
split off from one of those, 1 or 2
Okay.
steps.
Are these just the like credit card size sketches or bigger than that?
Yeah, I'm just going to do the credit card size sketches. These are just thumbnails. So instead of doing like planning thumbnails, we're going to do color area thumbnails. Let's see. Okay. It's kind of like, what did we do yesterday? Kind of like yesterday, I did this one, right? But that was 3 colors, but we're going to be able to use shades and tints as well. That's 3 colors, but Alexa set a timer 5 minutes. Don't get too fancy in these. You get 5 minutes for each of these little sketches. You just want to get generalities. And remember, to get your neutrals, you've already done that neutral exercise, is by layering your 2 complements. Yesterday we kept them pretty pure, but today we're going to start neutralizing by layering. You want to be about halfway through that first little thumbnail about now. Now we're just sketching, we're on sketch paper, so it's obviously on white paper and it's not going to be great. I know, Leah, you're going to probably have trouble with one of your colors because of that slickness of the surface.
Yeah, I switched the paper I'm using,
Yeah.
so it wasn't such an issue. Of course, you don't have to wait for the 5 minutes if you feel like that thumbnail is pretty much set and you want to move on.
What if we don't have a tint that's light enough?
You can cheat and blend it with some, like a light, almost white of something in that area, in that family. Does that make sense, Jennifer?
Yeah.
It's not cheating. I say cheating, but there's no real cheating in art. Well, maybe there is. All of a sudden I just got in my head, you know, there's no crying in baseball. Jeez.
Mm,
I do so much freehand that I don't know. I really appreciate artists who do their work freehand. And there are some that do use projection techniques. Sometimes I feel a little conflicted about that. Okay, that's our first 5 minutes. Alexa, reset timer. At least move on to the second one if you're not already there. Oh, I heard somebody blow. Be careful.
I was blowing pastel dust off my sandwich.
Oh gosh. I don't even know how to respond to that one.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell
Right.
him. Peanut butter and jelly. It was kind of like blowing wasn't working.
The blowing wasn't working. All right. Time to place your lunch a little further away from your easel.
Okay.
Now that we've played around with the neutralizing of the color with these two complements, you almost fall into that, like oh, that's too bright a color. Like yesterday we worked with those brilliant colors. Today it's like, oh, too bright. How do I take care of that? Well, I have its complement. And if you get in the habit of doing it this way, instead of reaching for a black or a gray, as we have realized here, you're going to end up with much more interesting colors in your paintings.
Okay, I'm finding this very difficult. I think I need to pick a different colors.
What color scheme are you working with?
Well, I was going with this purple and the yellow. Can you see that?
Am I looking at your screen right? Oh, no, I'm on the wrong person. Hold on. Spotlight. Oh, okay. Is it getting muddy?
Well, one had a hard time getting, I could get the range for the purples, but I'm not getting a range for my yellows.
Oh,
And
okay.
so,
Okay, because a lemon yellow would go almost into like an ochre, right? Are you getting into that? I'm holding this.
well, so that's what I'm having a hard time with.
I'm getting light here now. Can you see these? Let me unspotlight you, sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't look very, why does that look like it has dots on it? Oh, it
It
does have
does,
dots
huh?
on. Oh, that's funny. I wonder where those came from. Here, let me move it this way because the light is. Right, you had kind of a lemon yellow.
Yeah, well, so I guess it was also very, let me see if I can. It was a very pale. And maybe that was my problem, is that
Hold
I
on.
went with it too pale of a color.
Well, it's because it's that was your optical complement, right? And then the
Yeah.
trick, then finding the shades of that, because that is almost your tint right there.
Yeah.
So you need some deeper colors. I would head in this direction that I've kind of here.
Okay. That's helpful.
Dark yellow actually becomes like those ochres and browns. All right. Alexa, stop timer. Time to add in that third color.
Mm.
Now I'm really curious as to why that pastel has those little dots on it. Looks like moisture or something.
But when we add in this third color, is this a third sketch?
Yes, we'll be heading into our third sketch. How are we doing?
Okay.
I'm moving you
Okay.
right along right now. We're just doing quick little thumbnails, 5-minute sketches. And you now have time to do a couple more and decide if you want to, like for mine, which direction I want to head in. And what I often do, spotlighting this, will be if, let's see, the green here, do I want to try the yellow or the cyan? So even before I mark it, I can just kind of hold that up against my little sketches to see if that's going to work better, or if something like this is going to work better with that. I don't really like either one of those. So maybe I'll head to a yellow green. Do you see what I'm doing? So I'm just kind of seeing which one. That might be interesting if I added that in. So once you find that third color, go ahead and find a tint and a shade of it as well to add to your mix. Am I moving you fast enough yet?
I'm feeling a little behind.
There's no behind. This is just quick little fun things and fun. Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I've got whiplash.
Yeah. Or what else? Maybe an ultramarine blue would look good. No. I choose. I actually like that lime green. Huh. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. interesting seeing the little different thumbnails together. I'm looking at my first two, and I had kind of done a light green in one and a pink in the other, and I overlaid the pink in the green one to neutralize it.
Can you
But I
zoom
like,
in on that, please?
I have to move my whole, I
Oh.
like the, yeah, on Zoom, I can't zoom my camera, but I like the
Okay.
pink sky. So this is helping me make a decision where I may be heading for my larger painting. Whoop. But you can't really see the layering of the pink on this green over here, but it is there.
Mhm.
Alexa, stop timer. All right, how about one more? Do you find that third color really added some dimension to the painting, just to the little thumbnail?
Mhm, mhm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Changed it a lot.
Or did you say add one more color?
Before the third one.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you said and one more or add one more.
Another sketch.
In the
Okay,
sketch, between the second and the third, if you look at my screen right now, you can see I added a third color,
right. I just didn't know whether you meant to add a fourth.
a fourth. Now we'll
No.
keep it a
Okay.
little simple now.
All right.
Okay. Just about there. Right. How are we feeling about these colors? Something you can work with for about the next hour, perhaps?
I think so.
All right, we're going to break in just about an hour, which will be 3 Eastern time and noon out west. And hopefully over that hour break in between from noon to 1 or 3 to 4, we can get some of your little studies up on Padlet, whichever you'd like to choose. Your, what do I want? You know, the color scheme, I've lost mine. And a couple of your sketches like this. And then also hopefully we'll do a larger painting during this time. It's going to have to be quick. You have just about an hour. So try to choose one of these color schemes. You can modify it slightly, but for now, try to stay within the parameters that we've set with these color choices and create a nice painting. Ready for the challenge? You good?
Think
Any
so.
questions? I think so.
Yes.
Hopefully these studies have given you one or two that you think will work well for you. An hour, let's see. I'm going to set some 15-minute timers, okay?
So I guess I wasn't really paying attention. Are we going to the 9 by 12 now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And basically deciding maybe on one of your little thumbnail sketches you've done in color to use that to
As a guide.
develop your painting, not to copy it, but just to develop it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I got that part. I just missed the larger size.
Time to go big. Well, not too big, but. Cindy, you're on mute, but are you washing in and underpainting? You can nod. Yes, yeah, nice. I can't because I have a Spectrafix paper, so I had to do mine with pan pastel, my very light underwash. I'm going to pause the video. Who's gone? Chris.
You must be having communication problem.
Yeah, shoot. Oh, how are we doing?
Card with pastel.
Interesting. I'm just going to walk around here. Jennifer looking nice. Leah? Yeah, I like that hillside better. I like that. Very nice.
Well, it's funny you said hillside. It was really, in the photo, it was a fence.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I need to think about it different.
It was just a band when I first looked at it earlier. So
Yeah, because it had been a fence.
yeah.
So
and it was just, you know, and sometimes we don't see that when we're working where two elements are almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So excellent. Nice shift on that. Wow, Cindy, you're being ambitious. But look at those colors. Gorgeous. You're on mute. Cindy, you're on mute. Talking away.
I was saying I'm happy with it, but I don't feel that the focal point comes at you. I don't know. So,
Yeah,
but I guess
and
that wasn't the purpose of the exercise.
no, not really. But I mean, we're focusing on the color, and it's at an angle, but it looks like I'm assuming this is like an ocean scene. It looks like to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an ocean sunset.
And see the ocean and the rocks or whatever that foreground is are almost exactly the same. And it keeps from being, you know, they're very similar sized elements.
Oh, okay.
The water, I think the water's similar all over, the treatment of it. If it kind of glowed all more toward the sun area, that could help bring a center of focus in there.
Okay.
That like the light green that's right beside the foreground is kind of pulling that down that way too. And I think you want more of the focus out toward the sun and the clouds. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So just little bits.
More of this.
Yes, over in that area. So soften and darken it, neutralize it over in the lower left-hand corner. Yes, in that area. That's my quick suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. And very nice. Jennifer, that's looking nice. Yeah. Is it a winter scene or just happens to be the colors you chose?
It's the colors I chose, but very interestingly, the day after was the first snowfall. So if I'd gone back the next day, it may have looked like that.
Isn't that interesting? But because of the color choice, it has that cool winter feeling, definitely. Where else am I going? I'm kind of going just quickly here. Linda, whoop, somehow it's out of focus. No, I think it's something with your broadband somehow. I'm going to come back because I think it's just kind of needs to. And Rick looking nice. Again, the color choice gives it a feeling of a winter scene, doesn't it? Almost.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, the blues and the.
Yeah, that gray blue is dominant. Very nice.
I sent mine to you because I'm sort of kitty wampus to the camera.
Okay, I'm just looking quickly before our break.
Yeah.
Yeah, Linda, it's still out. So,
Okay, you know what? I'm going to put it up on Padlet.
right, and I just want to do a quick check and in with everyone. So if you can get these up on Padlet during the break. Oh, I'll remove the spotlight here. That would be nice. And It's noon on the West Coast and 3 p.m. here on the East Coast, and we will be back at 1 California time and 4 East Coast time.
Got
And
it.
I'd like to do a quick just review of these, nothing very long, because I'd like to try to do another painting this afternoon. My suggestion would be to try a new color scheme in some of the ones that we've been playing with. Now, I just lost my ear. Bud, not my ear, but my earbud. Am I back? Okay. You know, a new color scheme, you know the process, try the steps, find a color, find its complement, do a gray zone. Well, you don't have to do a gray zone. I think you understand how to do that for the blending of the neutrals. And find one other color. You can either do the full complement, or once you find that complement, you could do a split complement. Does that make sense? So let me show you on the, what did I do with my color wheel? It's all covered up. Just so you're thinking during the break, besides getting something to eat and taking a break. And so here, is that in the camera? Yes. So if you choose the magenta as your main color and that green is your complement, you can work that way, but you can also get very interesting neutral colors when you're doing the split complement. So you can either go this way again and choose a third color, or say start here and go with the split complements both ways, and you can still get interesting colors that way. I kind of want to leave the choice for the afternoon up to you. Perhaps try a new image if you'd like. So we'll kind of take these where they are, photo them up to Padlet, and then kind of prep your colors for this afternoon. When we get back together, we will have a quick once over of these paintings. Then we'll get back into painting, give us maybe a good couple hours for painting. And at the end, we'll have another little sharing time. I like to call it sharing. Critique sounds so, you know, formal. That sound good?
Yes.
That's good.
So will we
See-
finish up tonight at 7?
We will finish up tonight at 7 East Coast time. Yes. Is that
Great.
good for you, Rick?
Yeah, that's fine. Mhm.
Okay. And I'm thinking of getting like around for the East Coast at 6 o'clock, stopping, getting a photo, getting it up to Padlet so we can chat from 6 to 7. And
Great.
I'll give you a heads up on that. And for the West Coast, that will be 3 o'clock. We'll put those up so we're done by 4 p.m. I'm going to go
Sounds
have
good.
some mid-afternoon lunch or snack or something or whatever it is. Excellent. I will be sending out our last Zoom after this.
Okay. Oh, right.
And
So we're logging off.
we'll be, well, I'll log you off anyway. It'll happen when I take care of it. Any other comments? Yeah, I'll just kick you out.
Enjoy your break.
Thank you. You guys too. See you in a bit.
Okay. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.